I'm going to try this background for a little while and see how it works because I would like to stay in this room to film, and trying to find a spot has been an enormous feat. So, I said in my channel deviation video that I was going to talk about trad wives first, but I think I'm going to hold off on that because I don't feel like I have enough information. I am late to the game, and it seems like this is more of a age trend. Is that the right phrase I should be using? It seems like it's geared more toward uh, women and older teenagers because you're going to be 18 when you graduate high school, right? So older teenagers and young women, um, that age group, you know, up to like 25, 30 years old. And I'm clearly not there. I'm middle aged for a reason. That's the whole point of the channel. So I think I'm going to hold off on that. I want to get more information before I speak on that so that I can advise or not or have an opinion or anything like that. So today we're going to focus on what I do as a housewife and what I do all day and what people think I should be doing and what I am and am not doing. So let's get started. What do I do all day? What is my day in the life? Well, a typical day in the life for me, I'm 47. I should put that out there. I'm a 47-year-old housewife. I've been a housewife for, oh geez, 2016. So what is that? That is 10, wow. No, yeah, 10 years. Wow. It goes by so fast. There's so much backstory on that, but for right now, what do I do all day? Well, my typical day, I have a lot of cats. So my typical day starts off with me getting up, do my hygiene stuff, and then I have to give one cat meds, come downstairs. Sometimes I'll have coffee. I might be baking bread. I'll put in some clips as I'm talking. And after that, I will go through email, um, clean up after cats because I have more than one cat. I have several cats. I'm not going to name the number, but I have several cats. So a lot of my life revolves around cats. So I do that, and then dishes. Usually, I spend the first 3 hours on a heavy day. Normally, it's the lighter day is about an hour and a half of cleaning. On a heavy day, it's 3 hours of cleaning. So I do clean every single day, and that typically revolves around cleaning up after animals, and then litter boxes, which is also part of cleaning up after animals. So when I say clean up after animals, I mean like barf and whatever else. Because sometimes they have a kitty party, and God only knows what the hell they did overnight. So there's that, and then kitchen. So I'm cleaning up counters, putting dishes in the dishwasher, seeing when I need to hand wash, because we have 4 adults in this house. Um, so I do that, and then typically I'll have like a big chore. So like if I'm vacuuming that day, I'll do that. If I need to mop that day, I'll do that. Usually when I mop, I just vacuum first and then mop. So I have to go section by section in the house to do that. So I'll do that. Um, I don't always cook. That's something that's expected, but that's not something that I do, and I'll get into that later down the road too. Um, so sometimes I cook, sometimes I don't. I do a lot of knitting. Some of it, up until recently, though, you have to understand my hobby was also my job. So, and I'm going to talk about that as well for, especially for tradwives, um, for sure. But I do a lot of knitting, and then in between that, I'm like out in the garden. Sometimes I'm like watering plants stuff in the evening. Um, Running cats to the vet. It's not an everyday thing, but like I said, I have a lot of cats, so every once in a while you end up having like the maths. So sometimes I'm doing that kind of stuff. Running errands, so I'm grocery shopping. Um, what else? Picking up meds. So that's a typical day in the life. I don't sit a lot because I'm always finding something to do because I don't like to sit for more than like an hour at a time. Um, before I get antsy and I got to do something. So I'm not gonna say my house is clean. Like when I say clean, like it's not sparkling. It's not a magazine. It's not Pinterest worthy. None of that is happening. I don't think that's realistic. First of all, maybe if it's just 2 people and you don't have animals, it's probably pretty easy to do that. That's not happening in my house, so we don't do that. But it's clean enough. It's lived in. is clean enough and it's decluttered enough that you can tell people live there. You can tell there's animals, but it's not like you going in going, oh dear God, what the hell happened to this place? You know what I mean? It's like trying to find a happy medium, so to speak. The things that I don't do as a housewife. Again, there's some backstory here, which I will get into in future videos, but I don't cook every day. I refuse to cook every day. Like, obviously I eat, right? I mean, obviously. Um, but I'm not like making whole meals and stuff like that. I spent, I've been married 21 years. I spent the first 11 years making everything from scratch. I kid you not, which is probably why I don't cook anymore. 'Cause I'm burnt out. I don't want to do it anymore. Holidays, every day, didn't matter, all that. I'm tired. So every once in a while, I'll like get an urge to cook. But the thing is, too, is that they'll be coming at me at the comments for this stuff either. If you've been watching for a while, you know I'm vegetarian. And I don't hate on people who eat meat. I will cook meat for my husband. So you vegan Nazis can go away too. Anyway, um, so every once in a while I will make something for my husband. But mostly it's like he has to fend for himself. I fend for myself. The kids definitely fend for themselves. I make something that they want it, they can have it. But usually they don't because we have different schedules. They work night shift, so it's a whole thing. So I don't cook. I don't like dusting. That is the one thing you will see in my house is dust. Now, I don't let it get bad, you know what I mean? But like the fan blades, if I remember once a year, maybe twice a year, I'll do that. Picture frames, yeah, there's a layer of dust on that. I'm not gonna lie. Um, what else do I not do? I think that's really it because I do enjoy cleaning, but there's just things that you just don't like to do. They're like, at the bottom of your list, and dusting is definitely one of those things for me. It's at the bottom of my list. I don't, and the cooking thing, I'm just burnt out. So, and then it's like when you're so used to making food for people for not over a decade, and then you got to cut it down to two or even one. One, it takes a very long time to get used to making that small quantity of food because when I cooked, I made enough for 2 meals. Because yes, we're doing leftovers. I ain't making something fresh every single freaking day of the week. No, that was not happening in my house. And the thing is that if you're going to be a housewife, you got to find things that are not going to burn you out. So if there's something that drives you nuts and you got to do it every day, find a way to make it where it's like where you can repeat it, like the cooking. If you, why do we have this? This is a bit of a rant, but I am also a casserole girly. I'm a one dish person. Now, holidays is a different thing. I will make dishes all over the place for holidays. But for every day, I was not going to be making a protein and then three vegetables and then some type of side and then a salad and do that every single night. No, no, no. When I was cooking like that, I was working third shift. I was not going to be working third shift, be sleep deprived, run kids around, and then be doing that too so that they have something to eat while I'm asleep. Again, that's for another video. So those are things that I do not do. It's not a big list. Um, oh, another thing I don't do is I don't get all dressed up and pretty for my day. I'm in jammies most of the time, and it's summertime, and I'm in Tennessee. And if you've been in Tennessee in the summer, I'm not putting a whole lot of makeup on either. It's not happening. It's not happening. So this is the best you get. Maybe in the fall or in the winter you'll see some more makeup on, but this is it. And I don't do this every day either. I just do it for you guys. So my poor husband, he'll be fine. So yeah, I'm also perimenopausal, so that's why you see me in tank tops a lot because it's hot. It's hot outside. It's hot inside. It's hot in my body. I'm not. So yeah, usually I'm just in shorts and a tank top. Um, I do know how to dress up and look nice, but if I don't have a reason to, I'm not going to. So those are things I do not do. The expectations of my day. Um, I have watched a few housewife videos, and it seems to kind of a lot of it seems to be revolved around children. I mean, yeah, because listen, the housewife thing didn't happen to me early, and actually, I'm kind of glad it didn't work that way. So by the time I became a housewife, my kids were already adults. almost adults. They're almost adults. So I didn't have the whole, being home and taking care of the kids and then doing the house and doing the cooking and doing the this and doing the that and making sure I have my Bible study and blah blah. No. The expectations, we actually don't really have laid out expectations of what I do every day, but it's like an unspoken rule that if I'm going to be home, I need to be doing something, right? Which is why I take care of the animals and I do the dishes and I clean the house and, make sure everything's tidy and I take care of the yard. Me and one of my sons, we switch off on mowing the lawn, you know, running the errand. I run the errands. I do all that stuff. That's an unspoken rule. It's like if I'm going to be home, that's what I do. Now, what pisses me off is that when I was working, I was also doing all those things. But we ain't gonna get into that right now. Because that's a whole other piece. And I know a lot of y'all feel me on that one. That you're working and coming home and doing things. The only thing that happened is I'm not working an 8-hour job. I'm still doing all the things. So that's the expectation that I put on myself. My husband has not given me an expectation. That's the expectation I put on myself is that I do all those things that I say that I do during my day. Those are my expectations. My advice for women who want to be homemakers. If you are in a position like me where you're older and you have the chance to become a homemaker, um, my suggestion stays the same whether you're young, middle aged, older, whatever. You got to have something on paper that an employer can use. And I say this because, one, we're women, so there's already a bias there, right? Two, as you get older, even though it's illegal, they definitely don't like to hire anybody in our age bracket, or very rarely do they hire in our age bracket because we're too qualified, or so they say. Even though we got to eat and keep a roof over our heads and whatever. It's a whole thing. If you have a gap in your resume, they'll use that against you. So I started off my channel saying that I had a yarn business, and actually a lot of this is my yarn right here. Um, my biggest suggestion is have something that you can put on a resume. It doesn't matter what it is, because most of these people aren't going to look. Let's be honest. I don't think I've ever had anybody when I was doing any type of work look at anything I put on my resume, like actually check. I don't think they ever have. So you need to have something that at least fills in that gap, which is part of the reason why I'm kind of afraid to close my business with the state. It's because it's something I can keep on paper in case they do look. I don't think they're going to look. But in case they do look, then they can't go, oh, well, there's a gap. Well, no, honey, there's not a gap. I've been selling. I've been marketing. That's marketing is a skill. I've been selling stuff. I've been keeping busy. I've been, running all this. It's a thing. So find something for you that you can keep on paper, even if you're home all the time. Etsy shop, if you can register it. I know taxes. I get it, but it's going to help you on paper if you ever need to go back and get a job. Now, the 10 years that I've been a housewife, I did actually go back to work twice. Um, One of them was a bakery, and actually, all my background is food, so they're going to be bakers. So one of them was a bakery that I only worked at for a few months, right? Uh, but at that point, I had a 4-year. If I had not had my yarn on my resume, it would have been a 4-year gap. But because I looked like I was working, there's no gap. You see what I'm saying? So they hired me right away because I also had the food background before that. Then another 2 years, if I didn't have the yarn as my job, that would have been another 2-year gap. Went to another bakery. And actually, the bakery I used to work at, and they hired me back a third time. That's a whole story in itself. I'm not going to get into that, but they hired me a third time because one, I didn't have a gap on paper, and two, my reputation preceded me. Because at that point, I hadn't been at that place in 12 years, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll take you back." But the only reason why I left that place was because they were getting rid of that job position, and I didn't want to do anything front end. I am a back of house type of person all day. It's not happening. I'm not going to be in the front. No. No. Uh, so that's the only reason why I left that one. But my point is to have something on paper so that there's no gaps. It doesn't matter how much you sell. They don't give a crap how much you sell. They're not going to ask you. I've never, like I said, I don't think anybody ever actually checks other than to see if there's a gap in your resume. So my advice to you is always make sure you've got something on paper that you can put on the resume, no matter what it is. Just have something that's consistent. So that's my biggest advice to you. Okay, so my takeaway for today is yes, you can be a housewife as you're older. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't try to become a Pinterest worthy home unless that's what you want. Don't burn yourself out. There's no need to. Uh, if you're married to somebody who expects that, I'm sorry, sis, you probably got bigger problems than that. I'm just saying. Uh, and I feel for you. I really do. Sending you love and energy. Um, but don't try to put huge expectations on yourself. But do try to keep your home clean. You know, that's the whole point in you being home, right? Is to try to get some things done. Um, Clutter is always going to be there, but I got decluttering videos. I don't know if I could put anything up yet on the end screen, but if I can, I will. Just try to keep things. You're going to look lived in, and that's okay. It's okay to have your house lived in. Um, we're not magazines. Those things are meant to sell a dream, a fantasy. It's not real life. But we do want to have, we do want to see the floor. We do want to see the walls and the counters, and we do want to see these things, right? We want to make sure the bathroom doesn't have a huge ring in the toilet, and hair everywhere, and just keep it respectable. That's my biggest takeaway. And if you like to cook, go for it. We all got things we like and things we don't like, and if there's something you really just don't like to do, don't do it. Or try to make yourself do it once or twice a year, because it does need to get done, just not very often. Life needs to does things. Okay, so I will be back with another video where we get more in depth about the housewifing thing, and I'll see you soon. Please give this video a like and think about subscribing, and I'll see you later. Bye.